This is Brandon Moon with Moonlit Fly Fishing. I want to welcome you tonight to our fly tying night. I want to invite you to make sure that you've subscribed to our channel so that you get notifications when we post up a new video. We're going to be working on a Royal Wulff guide series fly. By guide series, I mean it's going to be a little bit easier to tie, a little faster, but it's going to be just as effective and just as deadly. So we're going to do this in a floral orange. I like bright colors. I feel like they attract the fish's attention. I like a high vis bright color so that I can see my fly in the water easily. So we're going to do that today. For our hook, we're going to be using the Moonlit Tagatta ML101. This is our dry fly hook. We're going to do this in a size 14. You can tie this fly with this technique. You can tie all the way down to a size 20. Okay. When I get that small, I actually don't use peacock curl. I use dubbing, but it's totally capable of doing that. Okay. You can tie these as big as size 10. It's a great attractor pattern when there's no bugs on the water. So we're going to be using steel colored Semperfli classic wax thread. Okay, so I'm just going to take and start this thread roughly about 3/4 of the way down. I'm going to build up a little thread base there where I'm going to tie in my wing material. So my wing material here is going to be Semperfli's Poly Yarn in orange. This is so I can see it. I'm just going to clip off, I don't know, roughly about an inch, inch and a half. Nothing too big in this. You can see not a big piece. I want it a little longer just so that I have the length that I need. So I'm going to tie this in. I'm going to do 2-3 wraps, and then I'm going to try push this to the sides, and I'm just going to build a dam rotating front and back, wrapping around this material. Then I'm going to do 2 figure eights to get me started. Now I'm going to wrap a few wraps just like I would on a parachute, and this is going to just help pull my wings up. Now I'm going to do figure 8 again just so that I can make sure I get these wing posts separated. About 4 of them. Pull that back, and I'm going to clip this off just past the bend of that hook. Okay, now I'm going to take and figure 8 this just 2 more times for a little bit more pronounced wing separation. Okay, now we'll go rearward to the bend of the hook. Here we'll take some Nature Spirit Moose Hock for our tail. I'll just take a small little patch of that. I don't want a thick tail. This material is going to be stiff. It's going to help keep that fly floating. So you can see I just have a small little clump. I'm just going to pull out any loose fibers, short fibers as well. Now I'm just going to take my hair stacker, put those in there. Give it a couple whacks. Now you can see those tips are nice and evenly aligned. We'll pull that out. Now I want the fibers to be coming out towards the back side of my fly because I'm going to be tying them in for the tail. So I want this tail to be roughly the length of the hook shank. So I'm going to tie this in at roughly about a 45-degree angle, not pulling it tight that first 2 wraps, but now as I come back over, as I come up, I'm going to push that Moose Hock material up on top of my hook. Okay, now I'm going to take this fiber here, and I'm going to trim it off right behind my wing, secure that in. Now we'll go rearward back to the tail. Again, we want to make sure we're keeping a nice smooth underbody. Now I'll lift that tailing fiber, that Moose Hock, upwards and go around it twice. I'm going to pull this thread up in underneath that tail, and this is going to help bind and secure that tail going straight vertical out. Okay, this is going to give me a really good tail on this. Now, since it's a Coachman, we're going to take 2 Peacock Swords. Okay, now we're going to cut these down because down here at the base they're too stiff. They're not really very good for anything. So we're just going to kind of find where this sword is going to come into play. I'm going to trim that down. I want the more supple parts of that fiber. Okay, now I'm just going to give it a good couple wraps here in the back side. Now I'm going to pull that forward. I'm going to wrap over the top of that where I can create that middle section there. Now I'll take these and I'll give it another couple wraps. And we'll tie that off. This is going to give us our separation in that body. I can pull those clean off right there. For our hackle on this, we're going to be using Coachman brown dyed Grizzly. Okay, I'm going to take my stem. I'm going to create a tie-in point. I'm going to tie this hackle feather in shiny side facing me. So I'm going to wrap in there a couple times, stand this hackle fiber up, go in behind it twice. This is going to help stand that up as I go forward. I'm going to create a nice little base right here for my hackle to wrap on. Give it a little something to grip. Now we're going to wrap this. We're going to go about 3 or 4 wraps behind. This wing. Okay, now we'll pull that wing back. We're going to wrap about 4 or 5 wraps in front. Okay, now I'm just going to secure that hackle fiber in. Now I'm going to pull it back. This kind of helps me clean up anything as I'm doing my head. Snip that off. You can see I've got this annoying little fiber in there, so we'll take and snip that off. Now we're just going to whip finish this off here. So again, make sure and comment on your favorite videos. Make sure to give them a thumbs up. Help us with your comments to create good content, continuing moving forward. The subscribe button always helps that as well, get notified when we have something come in. So you can see my wings separated. Okay, we're good. Now we got to create that midsection there. So for that, I'm going to be using the Semperfli Floral Orange. Traditionally, this is tied in red. I've seen it in purple, which I really like. But I do like this floral orange. It really is going to give them a hot spot on this fly. So I'm just going to start that at the front, work it rearward, snip off my tag end. Now I'm just going to build up a midsection here. And I use the Semperfli 8/0 thread for this because it's going to build up a little bit faster than the 12/0. It lays nice and smooth, even, flat. Doesn't build up a ton of bulk, but I do want that body in there. Now I'm just going to take and whip finish this right here. So there's a 1, 2, 3 turn whip. Snip off that thread. I really like these whip finish tools, the ergonomical ones from Loon. It's got the little snipper thing on the end. So here you've got our Guide Series Fluorescent Orange Coachman. You can see the wings. These are gonna float nice and good, not absorb water. They're gonna give it that Wulff's appearance with the calf tail, but they're not going to absorb water. They're going to keep my fly a little bit lighter. They're easier to tie in. So here we have a Guide Series Fluorescent Orange Royal Coachman. Again, make sure and subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments on your favorite videos and make sure and give them a thumbs up as well. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful evening.